Conceive, believe, achieve.
This is former UFC middleweight champion of the world, Michael Bisping.
Paddy the Baddy here. You're listening to Combat Sports UK.
And you're watching Combat Sports UK.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Combat Sports UK YouTube channel. It's Taylor Collard here, and I'm delighted to be joined by the number 2 ranked Octagon heavyweight, Stuart He-Man Austin. Stuart, it's been a while. How are you, mate? How are things?
I'm good, thanks, Taylor. I'm good. I'm tired, worn out. I'm getting old.
Yeah, the fight camps are coming on. So obviously we're training up towards Octagon 52 in Newcastle, the 27th of Jan. So at least no far distance traveling for you this time. How much are you looking forward to getting back into the cage against Adam Palasz in Newcastle?
Oh man, I'll be honest, I'm buzzing for it. I've had like three potential dates and opponents in a row cancel, which is, it's a bit of a nightmare, bit of a crap year. Last year was, like I didn't, my performance were good last one, but like I just haven't been able to fight and have people drop out. So it is what it is, unfortunately. So I am buzzing to get back in there. Hopefully get 3 or 4 on this year.
Yeah, I can imagine that itch is really there, and you've done something quite remarkable considering the time off, right? You had this fight last year, and I've kind of been looking at the rankings with Octagon, and you debuted in, and you picked up the win. You went in at number 6. Then when you were due to fight, I think it was on the Manchester card, you were at number 4, and now you've made it all the way to number 2. Seemingly, I mean, has there been like a ghost of Stuart Austin actually fighting and getting you up the rankings, or how do you work that one out?
Oh, come on. Maybe I shouldn't fight this one. I'll be the champion, Maybe if I don't fight in January, I'll get number 1 or the belt, maybe.
Yeah, too right. So you're coming into this at number 2. He's number 1. It's exciting, right? It's got to be a very exciting matchup considering your debut was against an unranked guy, obviously in the organization, and now you're going fighting number 1.
Fight to fight, like the rankings. Who decides the rankings? Are you part of that? I don't know who's part of that. Like the rankings really don't mean a lot for me. I'm kind of more concerned with with the opponent. And he's a good guy, obviously. Like obviously number 1 versus number 2. I'm gonna be fighting for the belt next. After this one, but like I've got a big mean Polski man in front of me first to deal with first. So one fight at a time. It's a bit of a boring trope, but it is what it is. Unfortunately, if I knock over this big monster, then I can worry about the climbing the ladder again without doing much. Hopefully.
Yeah, like you said, you could just be the champ without doing too much. I mean, let's jump straight into that fight. I mean, obviously, it's great for you to be able to get back in there. You'd have gone through. Did you go through full training camp in preparation for those fights that got cancelled?
Yeah. So the first one, I forget when it was meant to be. I want to say July. I broke my ribs, and I broke my ribs maybe 3 weeks before, and we tried, and it just wasn't going to happen. And my opponent at the time was a bit of a monster. Hyper aggressive, big, kicks a lot. There's just like, honestly, if he'd have touched my ribs, it'd have been a problem. And obviously, as a wrestler, you need lots of squeezes and be able to apply pressure and stuff. It just weren't going to happen. So that was like very frustrating. So that one then got rearranged for the Manchester cards, and got same opponent, who in between when we were supposed to fight the first time and the second time, Octagon allowed him to have a fight outside the organization. He got knocked out, broke his hand, and I believe he actually retired.
Wow.
Pretty much. Yeah, and it's a crazy fight because I think he actually got 2 10-8 rounds. Then the third round, I believe it was 10-9, and then the fourth round, he just gassed and the guy put it on him. The guy weathered a hell of a storm before that. So that wouldn't. I don't know. Maybe a lucky escape there. He looked big, and honestly, I watched that fight. He lost, and you're just like, how on earth can someone do so much damage to somebody and batter someone so bad then lose the fight? It was wild. Anyway, so we ended up getting a replacement. And I was excited for that fight. Big another Polish guy, Misiek, he's a Polish fighter, Przemysław Misiala. But he's been a UK mainstay, as long as me for a long, long time. He's been an extremely experienced veteran, 40-fight veteran. One of the guys who's like got more experience than me, heavyweight. There's not that many, so it was like quite a big domestic matchup. And then unfortunately he had to drop out. And we just couldn't get anything together in time. So they were kind of like they were looking at me going either on the December card or the January card, and we just worked out, and January made the most sense. Obviously it hopefully lines me up for a big fight against the champ afterwards.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a couple of areas that I want to touch on there. Obviously, talking about the title picture, but first, let's talk about Adam. Like you said, another big hole in your way in Newcastle. I mean, what's your knowledge on him? What have you kind of seen of his fight? He's beaten. He's had a loss to Todev, the guy who fought for the belt in Cologne. What are your thoughts on him as an opponent?
Well, he's good. He's pretty game. He's got he's pretty solid kickboxer on the feet. Punches, kicks, big power punches, lots of kicks. And his last fight, he showed a bit of a new wrinkle, showed his kind of wrestling game and his ground and pounds. So he's a solid guy. He's definitely game to fight, and he's pretty well rounded. I believe he's just moved to Jan Blachowicz gym. He's actually switched teams, so that'll be interesting. Obviously, he's got a great team around him. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I still got a few tricks in me. I still got one or two things I know that I think some of these less experienced guys ain't ready for yet. I've got one or two more things I need to pull out of the bag. I'm not easy to push over.
Yeah, that's for sure. And you show that kind of in the performance last year against Winter. I remember when we were talking about it in the lead up, and it was very, very clear where your advantage would be. And I think you put together an excellent game plan. Will you be looking at something similar? Like you mentioned that he's got a wrinkle in his wrestling. Are you looking forward to kind of matching him up in the wrestling department as well and seeing how he does stack up like that?
I'll be honest. Yeah, it's the same thing. We know what's going to happen. He's going to try and stay on the feet. He's going to come forward, throw big punches and big kicks. I'm going to try and grab a hold of him, throw him his back, and beat the crap out of him. You're like kind of like my days of being young and wild and stupid, trying to bang it out with every heavyweight, and sometimes that goes your way and sometimes it doesn't. Those days are long gone. Like now, I'm all about doing my best game, and that is getting on these guys, grinding on them, fighting in the clinch, fighting on the walls, fighting on like big takedowns, putting lots of pressure, lots of wrestling, and building on that with loads of ground and pound as well, like really like trying to break guys down, crack them, and I feel like with John Winter, I did a little bit of that. Like I was kind of a little bit too. I feel like I should have opened up a little bit more in that fight. I had a pretty solid performance. It was pretty one-sided. But at the same time, I think if I'd have taken a few more risks, been a bit more aggressive, I could have got him out there. Probably even in the second round, really, maybe even in the first. But that is what it is. It's like sometimes with these big monsters, like I was kind of not playing it safe, but I could just feel he was ready to explode and ready to go on a moment's notice. And sometimes you just need that little bit of extra confidence to to hit the accelerator a little bit and put people away. So I'm kind of in this fight. That's kind of what I'm thinking about. Like getting the guy out of there with a sub or a TKO.
Yeah, I mean that would be the dream. And when you talk about that Winter fight, it looked like he just couldn't handle your pressure. He kind of just didn't know what to do with that pressure. So a similar performance might be something that we're looking forward to. I mean, how good is it to fight on home soil? You're going to have the Newcastle fans behind you. It is a big fight in the division, and you're looking at the posters and the fight card, and people will realize that just looking off the rankings. How good is it to be able to fight at home?
Yeah, man, it should be fun. It should be fun. Like, I'm excited. Like I've never fought in like it's kind of a new thing for me to fight that far up north. It'll be fun. So we'll see with the crowd. Hopefully it'll be a good turnout. I don't know. Like for me, like Newcastle is about the same as Bratislava, like my
Yeah.
last one. Like it's far enough to be wildly inconvenient, but it's less of a fun destination. Um, I'm not gonna have to go through passport control, I don't think, so that should be all right.
Yeah, you
But
shouldn't have to. Yeah.
other than that, like go up to the filthy north and
I mean,
no, we'll
at
see.
least you know,
It'll be fun.
at least you know you'll get a good night out afterwards if that's your thing. Newcastle's a very good night out, so you have a good laugh after the fight if everything goes well. So that's
Oh
always
man,
good to
I'm
know.
getting old. I'm getting old. I'm not. I'm telling you these days. These days, like after a fight, I am not about that life anymore.
And then
Listen,
just on that card, what else kind of catches your eye on that Newcastle card? Is it the main event, Jack Cartwright, or is there something else that's standing out for you for the fans to look
come on,
towards?
bro. Come on, I'm the main event. I'm the main event. I get it. I get it. I'm a Southerner versus a Polish guy. It's hard to, but I'm the main event here. I am the main event. Come on, we're setting me up for the belt. Um, Jack Cartwright's a great fighter. Jonas Magard, again, really, really high level guys. But I don't know why. It's the same crap as the last fight. The heavyweights should be top billing. Come on. Um, but that's all good. I'm sure that they're gonna have an exciting fight. They both bring it. Like both of those guys are good. Real, really relevant, high level guys. So that'll be a good scrap. To be honest, I think kind of going up and down the card, I think is generally pretty stacked. Um, I was hoping straight up, I was hoping a bit more north south. I'd like to see a few more domestic fights because they have, they got the bucks to put some fun domestic fights on.
Hmm.
I don't mind fighting European guys, and obviously at heavyweight there's less domestic fighters, but I think it'd be really really fun um, to get some of the kind of like top UK guys and put them against each other. Like people on the kind of some of the smaller regional shows don't always want to fight. There's not that much money on the line. And
Hmm.
then there's got a decent show with a solid contract. Then there's no excuses. I think I would like to like there's good fights anyway, loads of good fights. That's the thing. It's all hectic, but I'd like to see like a North versus South card for me. I think North versus
Mm.
South could be real fun. Like
That would be
I want a
interesting.
headline later in the year, and I want to be, like the captain of the Southern team, captain of the Londoners, the City Boys.
Yeah, that would go down a treat in somewhere like Newcastle. I can just imagine that would be amazing. That would be amazing. I mean, the closest you've got to that really on the card is Jake McHugh and Hertag. Obviously, that's England versus Ireland, like from Octagon Challenge.
Yeah,
But
that's
I
fun
mean,
though.
yeah, maybe have a little whisper in Pavel and Andre's ear when you're there, and just say, "Hey, come on, this could blow some things up. Especially start getting some Scots involved as well. Then you can really kick up the rivalry. So it'd be a
Ah,
lot of fun."
come on, get out of there, those scumbags. My brother lived in Scotland for like 5, 6 years. Oh man, I've had enough of their shit. No. I've got a lot of friends, good Scottish fighter friends actually. Like, yeah, there's some really good teams up there now, and some really
Mhm.
solid guys. Obviously the higher level guys are good. My friend Ross Houston has a gym. He's got really good gyms building. There's a bunch of good gyms up there.
Mm.
Um, yeah, man, there's so many good things, and that's kind of why I'm like UK MMA is so strong right now. I'd love to see some more domestic fights on it, some more like, get like they just need to ask around the gyms and be like, look, what gyms do you not like, and
Yeah,
just get some gym rivalries going. I think that'd be fun, man.
just get
Encourage
some
it.
gym rivalries. And it's quite
Ah,
funny. I was gonna talk about these lads a bit later on, but I was talking to Mario Pinto, one of your boys, and he said the complete opposite to what you've just said. He said when I asked him about the UK MMA, he said, "Yeah, we all need to work together a little bit more and stop with the rivalries." And then you've got his head coach calling for North versus South card.
no, I just think like as a show, to me, I think like that'd be fun. It'd be fun.
Yeah.
Like, they. I just think, like, you can put some of the big teams, at the end of the day, we're always going to have little rivalries. We can be friends, but still have rivalries. But it's like, it's something for the fans to get behind as well. You know what I mean? Like, if you get, like, get the local crew, get the Liverpool boys down, and let the London boys beat them up. And then, like, it'll, all that stuff. They always love it. Come on. Every time some of the other shows go up, into Scoutstown, it's all about that, isn't it? All the big names come up and they're sitting in the cage side. But it's fun. Like, I think just generally, like, I'm enjoying Octagon already. I think they're doing really solid things. I think they've got so much potential to grow in the UK because it's still, the scene is still small. It's still small, and I think they're making the right moves and they're investing, and I think we're maybe not as easy a scene as some of the European countries. We've just got so much sports and stuff going on, so many things to watch. But I think the market here is just ripe for a really, really like premium show. Not one of these like shows where like guys are got two dead end jobs and this and that and trying to train in the evenings and that. Like a show that's going to pay the guys a little bit more, and hopefully, as time goes on, people can afford to be professional fighters a bit more. And get those opportunities and then perform better. And then, like Octagon for me feels like now like the show in Europe, and there's that big opportunity that expands. Like if you can kind of catch a hold of that wave, ride that wave, it can be a big thing. It could be really loads of potential and lots of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're really building out this heavyweight division. And before we talk about you guys, I mean, what did you think about that fight in Cologne? I mean, I texted you straight afterwards and said you're a problem for these guys. I saw it in person. Have you had a chance to see it? And what did you think of Moel in particular?
I didn't watch it. I don't care. I mean, like, I'm not going to fight Todov in the next two fights. Yeah, that's not going to happen. So like, and Moel, come on, Moel throws overhand rights and shoots. That's what he does, and he pins people up against the wall. Is that what he did?
Yeah, that's what he did.
Is that pretty much? That's it. Yeah, yeah. You know how many Moel fights I've watched? Zero. I know who he is. I looked at the guy. He's a short heavyweight, who likes to wrestle a bit. So he's going to throw overhand rights and he's going to shoot. That's what he does, and that's fine. That's cool. When I fight him, I'll come to it. I know he's a solid guy. I respect his abilities. But I kind of also like, nobody's ever really done that to me. It's not like, that's not the game plan I would pick to fight myself. People, the guys who give me trouble, that's not the way to go about it. You throw an overhand right, I'll shoot at you. And like extended wrestling exchanges, just like I've never had anyone out wrestle me in MMA. I've had guys I've had interesting exchanges with. When I fought Ishii was a bit weird. He pinned me on the fence, didn't do much, but he was unable to, get me and pin me, pin me down, put me down. And I basically just outstruck him in the clinch, beat him up in the clinch, and whether with Hatif, I have to, like put punishment on him and break him in the clinch and slowly just crush him, break his spirit. Or if I'm able to, turn him on essentially he'll come bull charging out, throw his overhand right, run me to the wall. I'm going to stop his takedown. And then it's as I'm going to be able to turn him and then take him down and beat him, because I think he'll break if I take him down. Or am I going to have to weather the storm a little bit on the wall while he tries huffing and puffing and, blow the house in? But this house is made of bricks, mate. And I'll just break him slowly. That's the thing with him. I know he's good at what he does, but it's kind of limited for me. I think he's not like diverse enough as an attack. But we'll see. We'll see.
There you go. You've heard how it's gonna play out. Let's talk about your guys. I spoke to Mario Pinto and Shah Kamali also towards the back end of last year. Brilliant lads. Obviously, they were glowing about their praise for you. I mean, how are those two kind of looking in terms of they've got a couple of fights coming up with levels. Mario's going to defend his belt, if I'm correct. How are they looking kind of day in, day out in the gym, and what's your experience of their careers kind of so far?
My experience of their careers is those guys are going to retire me because it's fucking miserable. They literally spend every day with their youth and enthusiasm just beating me up, forcing me, like they keep me ducking and diving at the moment. But the times that like fending them off and doing my stuff to them is becoming harder and harder and harder, week by week, month by month. They are, it's not going to be one of my opponents who retires me. It's going to be someone, one of my friends, one of my students. A bit of the like Sith killing the master.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, they're awesome. Like Mario, Mario's got a good tough opponent. I believe he's actually one of Hatif Moel's training partners. I think
Hmm.
if they're not trained, but they've certainly trained both at UFD gym in Germany, in
Hmm.
Dusseldorf. Kasim Aras, who's very, very solid wrestler. I believe he wrestled internationally with Greco, and has a bit of a mean right hand. 5'10", but absolutely stacked. Like built
Mm.
like a dustbin. Really, really solid guy. Um, so it's like a big challenge for Mario. It's definitely his toughest opponent yet. But I think it's kind of like he's a classic sling the overhand right and try and shoot sort of heavyweight.
Yeah,
And Mario is a different species.
yeah,
We're
he is.
talking
Yeah.
like it's almost like different sport, man. Like Mario's gonna dance around him and make this guy kind of look bad. Mario's last fight he did okay, but it's kind of like his opponent is one of those guys who like best of luck looking good against him. If you
Yeah.
don't chin that guy in 10 seconds, you just it's just weird. Like
Hmm.
he came straight out with the Imanari roll and this and that. It's just horrible. When we got that opponent, because he's a replacement, because he was originally supposed to be fighting UFC vet, I was like, bro, this guy is just. You're gonna. I said to him, I was like, you're gonna look shit against him. You're gonna feel shit. It's gonna be a horrible fight and you'll beat him out, you'll beat him, you'll be controlling every round, you'll be doing whatever you want to him. And he'll have a few moments where it feels scary and it's just gonna be awkward and big
Hmm.
and that's exactly how it played out. Literally, as we walked out the cage, he was like, bro, you're so right. But it's like sometimes you gotta fight those guys. Sometimes you
Yeah.
gotta fight them. And he got it done, he got the win, he finished the guy, and he came out, looking pretty good, decent performance. Not his best day, not his worst. Came through some like he had a little bit of adversity in the fight and come out looking good. Of that reacted well to it. Like there's times in fights when like you got do you want to do you go belly down and let him throw a few punches or give your neck and get finished, or do you battle your way out of it?
Hmm.
He took a big knee in the one round and he didn't even hit the floor and he was already on a single leg. He was wobbled hard,
Yeah.
uh, you know, he's on a single leg coming up and scrambling to win the position, then ended up in a leg lock. And again, just thought his way out of it, listened to us in the corner, took his time, escaped. And that was about kind of the primary offense. But there were a couple of moments that were, scary moments against a guy who's 6'8" and cutting a serious amount of weight to get to heavyweight.
Hmm.
It's one of
Big
those
boy.
ones. And
Yeah.
the guy's a legit grappler, yeah. With Shah, I'm really excited for Shah's fight. Because the opponent is obviously, a one FC veteran, one championship veteran. Um, and like for your second pro fight, it kind of says a lot about what people think about Shah. We've got a lot of people who don't really want to fight him.
Mm.
He's got big hands, and I think in his last couple of fights, he's shown he can grapple as well. I think before that, people thought he was just a banger, and what they don't realize is like he's one of my guys. We are grapplers. Um, the same with Mario. Like we are a grappling gym. We're grappling heavy. We're wrestling heavy. We're jits heavy. Um, but these guys just go out there and just knocking people out.
Yeah.
So it's like when they start using their grappling more, it's surprising. Like people are going to get shocked at how technical they are. So yeah, so it's fun. I'm very excited for Charles' fight. It's a high level opponent. He's kind of like a big awkward guy. Um, he's got some weird fights where again he's very awkward. But
Mm.
I think Shah's going to get him out of there pretty quick. To be honest, he has in the past, and I don't see this one as any different. I think the guy's going to feel the power, and I think it'll be over fairly quickly. I think possibly even the first round. But it's a great experience for Shah to fight someone like that. It's interesting because it's kind of like Mario's pro debut. He actually fought a Bellator veteran, you know, like in Shah's second fight, he's fighting a one championship veteran. It's crazy, really, the opportunities these guys are getting, and it's kind of a double-edged sword. You know, obviously you're fighting these good guys straight away into the deep end, but you know they're responding, you know, amazingly. They're just like, cool, yeah, we'll get on with it. What do you want me to do? You know, between us, me and the other coaches, between Rowan and the team as a whole, we just kind of work these guys out, and you know, and go about our business.
Yeah,
Pretty
so
much.
two very exciting gents to look out for. Both those interviews are on our channel as well, and they're fighting on the 18th of February, if I'm correct, for Levels Fight League over in Amsterdam. As for you, mate, I'll give you the final words. I'm sure you've got a little message you want to put out there, as well as any sponsors or shout outs you want to make.
Yeah, man. Just try and check the fight out with Octagon. If you watch it on Octagon TV, I believe it's
Channel
also
4 as
on
well.
Channel 4 as well.
Yeah.
Even easier. Yeah, that's probably a better idea. Channel 4 is a lot easier. Yeah, no, check the fight out. I think the whole show is going to be good. There's a lot of good scraps on there. And yeah, it's MMA that you can actually watch at a reasonable time. You know, we ain't staying up till 3 a.m. And the show is great. It's going to be a big arena. We're coming to more arenas in the UK later in the year. I don't know if they've been announced yet, but yeah, some real fun ones. One that I really want to fight in. So yeah, 27th of this month. That's a couple of weeks. Watch out. Watch the number one contender be affirmed. Going for the belt.
Coming for the belt. The road to the belt starts here. Stuart, He-Man Austin, thank you very much again for your time, mate. It's been a pleasure to catch up with you. Like you said, Octagon 52 to 27th of Jan, going down in Newcastle in the filthy north, in the words of Stuart Austin. Number 2 ranked Austin goes up against number 1 Adam Palasz for what we believe will hopefully be a shot at the title. Thank you very much for your time, mate, and the best of luck for the fight.
Cheers, Taylor. Thank you.